Good morning, friends. How are you? Today, I wanted to put something a little bit different on our prayer table. I was thinking about the Good Shepherd this morning, and I thought it might be nice to see our Good Shepherd material again. Even though we can't work with it yet in exactly the way that we normally do in the Atrium, it's still good to look at it, isn't it? And it helps us maybe remember some of the things about the Good Shepherd that are so special to us. When I look at the Good Shepherd on our prayer table with our green prayer tablecloth, it kind of looks a little bit like they're in a field, doesn't it? Like they're in a big grassy field. Maybe the sheep like to explore. They look for food. Maybe they hear noises. But I wonder, in this big field, what do you think happens when he calls them? Maybe you remember this from the Gospel of John. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will not follow a stranger, but they will run from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. So I wonder, when the Good Shepherd calls his sheep, maybe he wants to take them somewhere, to a new pasture, to new water. He would call their names, right? Isn't that what it says? He calls his own sheep by name. He leads them out. Now they're all together with him, right? The sheep will follow him because they know his voice. Maybe today they're going to go 2 by 2. Maybe some other days they would all go in a big group, or maybe 1 by 1. But wherever our shepherd is leading his sheep, they follow him because they know his voice. I wonder what his voice sounds like. What do you think? What does the voice of the Good Shepherd sound like to his sheep? Maybe that's something that we can think about, is what does this voice sound like? What is it like in our imagination? What do the sheep hear? I wonder too where he might take them. We've talked before about good shepherds and what they might do for their sheep, right? What sheep might need, like food or water. Maybe the Good Shepherd calls them so that they can find those things. In the parable that Jesus is telling in the Gospel of John, he says, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. I am the Good Shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also. So there will be one flock and one shepherd. I think they like to be really close to their shepherd. This is one of my favorite things in all of Scripture. Is this parable. It gives me so much to think about. And maybe it gives you some things to think about too. We can wonder about this together. And you can wonder about it at home anytime. You can wonder about it. You could read it if you're already reading, or you could have someone read the parable for you. Or you could just be quiet in your prayer table area and think about this. Or maybe draw a picture with your art materials. What you think it looks like. What is the shepherd like? What are the sheep like? What kinds of things do they do? I want to say to Jesus, thank you for this parable. Thank you for the parable of the Good Shepherd. And thank you for helping us to think and wonder, even while we're far apart from each other. I pray for each of my friends, Jesus, that you would be close to them this week, that you would show them more of who you are. I pray for Mark and for Andy. I pray for Maggie and Hannah and Corbin and Karen and Sam and Jack and Felicity and Gabe and Jenny and Georgia and Jackson and Junia. And I pray for everyone who is watching. The Good Shepherd knows your name. Bye, friends.